Taco Bell, both loved and derided with equal measure. Taco Bell is part simple, part complicated, a tectonic collision of Mexican-American proportions. It's late. How about Taco Bell? You suggest to your friends. Not all are on board, but they order anyway. The argument goes that it's not really Mexican, but you know that. Taco Bell is an island of its own, and the island is familiar. The very people that would question the authenticity would no doubt pay 3 times the price if you served their taco on a reclaimed roof tile while sitting on a milk crate outside a craft brewery. They would call it fusion, and if anything is fusion, it's Taco Bell. Despite a perceived lack of suitable origin story, they're still eating it. Of course they are. The island of Taco Bell isn't so bad, and now you can tell them that Taco Bell was founded by a guy named Glenn, which is one of the most popular boy names in Mexico. You all laugh. Taco Bell isn't meant to be so serious, and the number one boy's name in Mexico is Juan. The one and only Glenn Bell started out not selling tacos. In the early days, it was burgers and hot dogs. This was Southern California in the late 1940s, McDonald's territory. A story of many of the famed restaurant brands that the world knows today can trace a story back to here. What makes Glenn Bell's story slightly different is that there was no hiding the influence that McDonald's had on Bell's ambitions. Being interested in food from an early age, and later joining the US Marines in World War II, where he would work as a chef, would focus Bell's attention when he returned home to the food business. And living in San Bernardino, at this time McDonald's was the backdrop. Impossible not to notice. Bell noticed. Well before Ray Kroc realized what was going on, there was McDonald's imitators springing up all across Southern California, and Glenn Bell was one of them. When in 1948 he opened Bell's Burgers, having leased a plot of land and building a small burger stand himself, he went quickly on to open a second stand, and although sales were good, the problem was that too many people were onto the same idea. McDonald's was spawning copycat burger stands left and right. Knowing that being able to stand out in a saturated market would be essential moving forward, Bell needed to sell something different. Over the road from his new location, there was something different. Mitla Cafe, a Mexican restaurant that was selling Mexican food, in particular tacos, filled with meat and cheese. These delicious hard taco shells would be streamlined for scale by Bell in his own restaurant, which was a hard thing to do. The refining process eventually paid off. In 1951, Glenn Bell started selling his tacos. Although this was not technically the start of Taco Bell, it was the start of the taco formula that would form it. Along with other partners, Bell began with Taco Tia and El Taco, as well as other similar style ventures. It was more than a decade later, in 1962, that Bell went alone, started Taco Bell. The first franchises were not long after. In 1970, Taco Bell went public, with over 300 restaurants, and I'd be surprised if there wasn't a lot of grinning and giggles at the stock exchange when they rang the bell. It was 1978 that PepsiCo decided they'd seen enough and wanted in on the action. Glenn Bell sold his 868 Taco Bell restaurants to PepsiCo for $125 million in stock. Not a bad turnaround for Glenn Bell, and from McDonald's systems to independent Mexican restaurants, it shows that imitation is the sincerest form of wealthery. While that is grammatically flaky, and wealthery I don't even think is a word, the point is, despite what your teachers taught you, copying gets you paid. One move that didn't pay is having a board meeting and deciding that the one place that needs a Taco Bell is Mexico. While Mexicans might understandably roll their eyes at the thought of an American cavalry riding into town with talks of a fancy food they call tacos, Mexico wasn't having any of it. Taco Bell first attempted this move in the early 1990s, and if once wasn't enough, they tried again in the late 2000s, with similar results. There are many reasons why this wouldn't work. Many reasons. But a group of well-paid Taco Bell executives, assumingly of sound mind and faculties, with a sizable budget, not once but twice, decided this would work. So why would this move get the green light? Obviously, there is the logic that Mexicans like Mexican food, and so with a population of well over 100 million, that's a big potential market. It's nearby, so logistically there could be advantages, and success in Mexico would be the ultimate accolade, a nod of approval. Starbucks has always had a similar dilemma with Italy and coffee. The sales pitch is Italian inspired, but Italians don't really recognize it. Perhaps Taco Bell should have just gone all out and built a gold-plated Taco Bell shrine in the middle of Mexico City that catered to Western tourists and wrote it off as a flagship branding exercise. This approach to international expansion isn't actually unique to Mexico. In fact, Taco Bell seems to embrace testing a market and then leaving and then coming back. There is no question that Taco Bell is popular in the US, with 6,611 locations, now part of Yum! Brands with KFC, Pizza Hut and the Habit Burger Grill, but international adoption seems to be less straightforward. If you look at the Yum! Brands portfolio, you see KFC and Pizza Hut, both brands that along with other successful exports like McDonald's, Burger King or Subway seem to be adopted very quickly overseas. All of these brands are simple to understand. Burgers, pizza, fried chicken and sandwiches. For the uninitiated, the Taco Bell menu in comparison can be like looking at a row of slot machines in a Vegas casino. Lots of bright colors, made up words, and you order and hope you get lucky. But once familiar, you can hit that dollar menu with a handful of change like a pro. Whether Taco Bell is sufficiently considered Americana enough for overseas markets may well be an issue. Again, Yum Brands has the data on hand and the success with KFC in particular to know the difference between corporate strategy and brand performance. Taco Bell is no different to the other brands, but perception is everything. Taco Bell could keep coming back stronger, and I wouldn't rule out another try at the Mexican market. It might just work eventually. One thing that is universal is value. Taco Bell gets value just as well as any other. This includes McDonald's, a selling point not lost on customers. The now ubiquitous dollar menu, dollar cravings in this case, that the industry uses to drive customers literally to the door or window, have proven a very successful strategy so far. Taco Bell may have been the introduction to Mexican style food for many, but restaurants that focus on a more premium offering have proven to be successful. Chipotle, Qdoba, Del Taco, and most Southwest Grill have become popular and are seen as healthy alternatives to fast food. Will this change Taco Bell? If you take Chipotle as the biggest competitor in this market, there is definitely a move towards premium. Customers are embracing and more importantly paying for a perceived higher quality experience. Taco Bell can stick or twist on a market position. Taco Bell is traditionally a twister. However, there is plenty of middle ground between Taco Bell and Chipotle. Taco Bell customers come for a reason, usually because they like the package that is on offer, and this works so best not upset them. Taco Bell needs to compete with Chipotle in a different way. Try to be all things to all people rarely works. Acquisition is also an option, but given most of the market is now highly corporatized already, that could be a big investment. No, to open some new locations under a slightly new name, like Taco Bell Cantina, with this extra Latin word on the end. You might be wondering if you can afford to frequent such a place. Turns out, it's priced very similar to a Chipotle. The menu has burritos, rice bowls, and salads along with alcohol. You can even reportedly get married in one, I do recall. If this wasn't premium enough for you, how about a swanky Taco Bell hotel? Albeit not a permanent fixture, so don't get your hopes up, but I don't see a Chipotle hotel anywhere. The Bell, a pop-up hotel and resort in Palm Springs, California, a haven for Taco Bell lovers. A bar for cocktails and tacos while you relax in the sun by the pool. It all looks like everyone is having a great time, but one activity that is probably not advised after sitting around eating Taco Bell all day is yoga. The Taco Bell you know may be broadly the same, but the company is trying to attract customers from Chipotle. Chipotle has been very successful with home delivery, utilizing home delivery app systems that are popular with their demographic. Taco Bell owner Yum Brands have also been aware of this growing trend, investing $200 million in Grubhub in 2018. Chipotle and other similar brands in the market are no doubt having an effect. Taco Bell is changing accordingly. Interestingly, the more upmarket Cantina brand still uses the Taco Bell name, signaling a shift more upmarket for Taco Bell. In theory, otherwise an entirely new name could have been used. Taco Bell has been bold with advertising ventures over the years. In 2001, the company floated out a 40 by 40 foot floating target into the South Pacific near Australia and promised that if the re-entry of the Mir space station was to hit the target, then everyone in the United States would get a free taco, a reported 7.5 billion to 1 chance of it happening. But just in case it did, Taco Bell purchased an insurance policy, just to be on the safe side. It missed. Understandably, it was coming from space. A night out can go many ways. Hotels are here today, gone tomorrow. Convincing your friends where to eat might be easy. Convincing a country might not. If you have a great idea, be sure someone will copy it. It's flattery after all. Taco Bell with friends is acceptable, but yoga the next day is a risk. All things Taco Bell. Let me know. Thanks for watching.